Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first edition of the Hogs Media Podcast in the year of 2024. We are starting with the Hogs struggles yet again. First,
Yep.
basketball. What do you think about this recent game? Probably the worst game we've seen in a while from the Hogs at Bud Walton. Thoughts?
Yeah, as many have highlighted, that was the worst loss in Bud Walton history
It's
of
it's
all,
worse than
you know,
ever. I didn't know that.
ever. I
Wow.
mean, Bud Walton opened in 1992 or 91, something like that.
In the
So,
90s
but in
sometime. Yeah.
like 30, 35 years, it is the worst loss. The worst loss prior to that, I can't remember who it was, but it was 30 points. And we lost to Auburn by 32. So set a new record, which is awesome.
83-51.
83-51. Uh, I'm pulling up the box score right now, trying to.
Yeah, I got it up. Um,
So 31% shooting from the field, just bad.
and they shot
29%
almost 50.
three. Yeah, Auburn shot 48 and 38. Free throws. We didn't get to the free throw line that much, and neither did Auburn, which I'm a little bit surprised. The game started out really choppy. A lot of fouls, a lot of stoppages of play. I thought like, oh, this is gonna be one of those games where, both teams have 20 to 25 fouls. We actually only ended with 11 fouls as a team, which is pretty good. And Auburn, that's really good. Auburn finished with 14 fouls. We only got to the line 15 times, but still shot horribly from the free throw line when we got there. 8 of 15, 50%.
Surprised me.
And a lot of those misses were by our guards. Keon Menafield, I think he missed 3 out of 4. Uh, Battle, I think, missed like 2 out of 3 or something like that. It was just bad. Our assist to turnover ratio, once again, 13 turnovers to 8 assists. Our trend this whole season has been if we're in single digit assists, we do not win. And here we are, once again, under 10 and, almost doubling up on turnovers. It We got dominated in the paint, especially in the second half. Auburn just threw it down to Broom, like I don't know, 8 possessions in a row. Like he in the second half, he was 6 for 8. They were all layups. I mean, I think every single one of those six that he made were just layups where he caught the ball on the block, did one dribble, did a little move, and got a pretty easy looking layup. And they did that. I mean, just back to back to back possessions. We weren't really stunting down on him, which is where send a guard to kind of like double team him or whatever. The
Stunned
one
him.
or two times that we did stunt on him, he kicked it out and they made a 3 pointer because we couldn't recover fast enough. Like it was just every layer of the game. There was nothing redeemable about it. Our defense was horrible. Our post defense was horrible. Our 3 point defense was horrible. We gave up 7 threes on 18 attempts. It's not like that was like the whole game, but still, like nothing on the defensive end. We weren't getting steals. We weren't getting turnovers, right? We only forced 7 turnovers the whole game. Um, Against freshman guards. Holloway, their main point guard, is a true freshman, and we couldn't aggravate him at all. We couldn't get in his head at all. Like any of their other guys, like we just couldn't do anything. Giving up dribble drives, giving up lanes, pick and roll defense. They had this guy, Auburn, the guy with two Baker Mazzara. He was hitting outside shots, and then they would just come and screen for him, and he'd just go get to the elbow or take it to the basket. I mean, everything. And then on our offensive end, also, I mean, 13 turnovers is bad. It's not horrendously bad, but it's bad. 0 assists. There was one turnover. I think it was Trevin Brazil. He was up above the 3 point line, and he was trying to pass it to, I think, Menafield, like also up at the 3-point line. And so he's passing it this way, and there's a defender that is literally standing between Brazil and Menfield, but he's not even facing the ball. He's literally just standing there like this, and the ball is behind him. And Trevin Brazil throws it straight into the back of that guy's arm, and it hits him, and he literally turns around surprised, like, where'd this ball come from? And he picks it up and goes and gets a layup. I'm like, we're turning it over when Auburn isn't even trying to get a steal. They're literally just with their back to the ball and their arms up, and he throws it into his arm. Like, that's the picture of how lethargic, how just unfocused we looked. Like, you're doing that. At one point, Devo Davis, he was upset at Baker Mazzara for whatever reason. That guy was chirping all game. He got
Don't touch my things, gross.
sorry, that's a
When you
commercial.
bundle your home or renters with your auto, Progressive provides 24.
Sorry about that. I had ESPN pulled up and they just played a commercial. Anyway, there was like the Baker Mazar guy. He was chirping. He got a technical foul early in the game, and a few other guys were chirping. But in the second half, literally, we're on offense, and we had like started to maybe make a little bit of a run. Like we had gotten down by like 18 or 20, but we had kind of like got it back to 12 or 11, and we're like, okay, like we had made like 3 3-pointers in a row. And at this point, maybe Auburn was up by like 14. And Devo Davis, we're on offense, just walks up behind Baker Mazzara for Auburn and literally just shoves him to the ground and then walks away. And the ref is like, beep, technical foul, flagrant one, Devo Davis. And you're like, what are like you're not even playing like that's not even playing tough or aggressive. It was literally a cheap shot. He just walked up. He wasn't trying to set a screen. He wasn't trying to get to the ball. He wasn't trying to fight over a screen. He literally just like walked over from the 3-point line and shoved him over and then like walked back. And I'm like, oh, this is bad. Like, this is so bad. This is not a team that you look at and go, oh, they have some stuff to work on. This is a team that you look at and go like, oh, we're not making the tourney this year.
It's so many things you just covered. Bad defense, inconsistent offense, guys just shoving. And Devo's a senior leader, and then he just goes up and shoves a guy. And then I've heard a lot of stuff about effort. I didn't get a chance to watch the game. Do you think our effort was down at all, or guys not playing as hard as possible?
Yeah. I mean, especially in the second half, I mean, in the second half, we got, outscored by 25 points. And it was just, yeah. I mean, there was none of that like active defense. There was none of that
Urgency.
like aggression. There was no urgency. I would say like Keon Menafield, I mean, he had a little bit of fight in him, like I said, when we got down like 20, which happened fast. I mean, like Auburn just came out in the second half super hot. So we got down by 20, probably still with like 13 minutes left in the game. And like I said, Menfield, he like came down, hit a 3-pointer, came back down, threw it to Lawson, who got a 3-pointer. Menfield came down like 1 or 2 possessions later, got another 3-pointer. So I was like, okay, this guy's like at least like trying to put up some fight, but everyone else, I just I didn't see it. I didn't see any effort. It looked like I don't know if anyone, listening has ever stayed up really late and then suddenly remembered that you go to the gym at 8 a.m. and play pickup basketball. And that feeling of like, I went to bed at 2 a.m. last night and now I'm trying to like play at 8 a.m. That's what it looked like. Like the guys just kind of all looked just like a little bit, just
Just
kind of
there to be there.
tired. Do what?
Just there to be there.
Just there to be there. Yeah, just it, it was weird. It was weird at home. Like they couldn't let the crowd give them any boost of energy. Just complete lack of focus. No one staying true to their assignments. No one fighting. I mean, and even like weird stuff too that like I guess maybe you call it effort, maybe you call it a mental error, maybe you just call it bad luck. but there was probably 4 or 5 possessions, even in the first half, where two of our guys would both be going for the same rebound and knock it out of bounds off each other. The two of our guys would be going for the same rebound and hit it out of each other's hands and it bounced back to the offense and they would get a second chance point off of it. Or the rebound coming off a little bit long and instead of going and chasing it down, they just kind of like let it sail over their head and give up a second chance point. That like I mean, what was the offensive rebounds for Auburn? They got 11 offensive rebounds, which isn't wildly insane, but a lot of those were on like lack of effort plays. It wasn't that like Auburn was coming down giving this like crazy offensive rebounding energy. It was literally like, oh, we're hitting it off each other, we're deflecting it out of bounds, we're letting it just like roll to back to Auburn, kind of bounce to them out near the 3-point line. Just like stuff that you just kind of look at, you're like, how is that? How is this happening? Very strange.
I mean, I'm looking right now. We hit 18 total shots. It's very rare you're going to win a basketball
Basil,
game.
none of the chopping.
Total shots and ESPN commercials.
I don't know how to turn that off. I need to figure out how to turn that off.
I mean, you already said it. 53% for the free throw line, in addition to making 18 shots. Turn the ball over more. We lost rebound battle by 14. It's 2 stupid technicals. They had 8 more assists than us. You've already said single digit assists killed us. Everything we did bad. So if you're like looking at it for tomorrow's game, what adjustments would you make besides? I mean, I think we've said it on so many pods. We got to pass the ball more. So besides that, what else would you do?
Man, at this point, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's still too early to throw in the towel.
I don't think so.
I mean, like, okay, not throwing in the towel, but completely like resetting
Yeah.
everything, because it's like, okay, we're 9-4. We look like shit, but we still have the entire SEC conference ahead of us.
I
And we
think we're
just
nine and
played
five now with the Auburn loss.
not, yeah, 9-5, but we still have the entire
That's the
SEC schedule
schedule. Yeah.
ahead of us. And we still have a chance to make the tournament. Like we still, so we can't just like, we can't retool. But I'm almost to the point where I say you go one of two ways if you're Muss. You either turn everything into like set offensive plays. There's no longer an offensive scheme, which is normal, right? Every team does it. We're not just Arkansas. Every team has like a standard movement, right? Like,
Have your
okay, the
sets
three
plays. Yeah.
cuts under this and cuts under here. And it's just kind of like a movement, but that's not working for us. Our guys are not running an offense. So you either go to like every single time down the court, we are like calling a play, like run, Texas left and run Red Wing 5 and run where it's like you pass it to this guy and he's either getting a shot or missing, or like
Yeah.
you run through either that or you just go full freedom. And this is maybe too close to just throwing in the towel, but you just go like, all right, guys, screw it. Just go do whatever you want. Like go play pickup ball, have fun. Now I wouldn't, obviously the reason to do that is not because you've given up, but because maybe the problem is these guys are so locked up mentally that like that's where their problems are coming from, is that like they're just playing so scared, they're playing so in their head that maybe as a way to break them out of their head, break them out of their fear, you literally just put the 5 best scorers on the court, and you just say, hey, you guys just have fun, play street ball, go get a bucket, try to set some good screens for each other, try to get some good shots off, but like just go and play pickup ball and do what you can. Maybe that sparks guys like Battle and Ellis and Brazil and Mark. Maybe that sparks them to like all play really well. I don't know, but when we're actually just trying to run like our offense, it's just we've won 9 games, but I'd say, and we've lost 5, but I'd say we've had probably at least 8 games or 9 where these guys just cannot run the offense and cannot run the defensive scheme.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the freedom thing that you said is really true. I think we should run that because in the Purdue game, if you notice, our guys were just playing like kind of pickup. Like when an offense in basketball is a freedom offense, it's just organized pickup ball, like you said. Like it's still organized, but you're flowing, you're moving, you're going. It's a motion offense. So like you said, I think our guys are so focused because they're so, especially guys like L. Ellis, they're so afraid to make a mistake that they try to do it specific and like instead of reading the defense, they're just like, I need to be in this spot. I need to do this.
Mhm.
And the defense is going off that and saying, okay, if I'm right here, I'm going to make the play. And it's just play basketball. And we're trying to, it's rocket science. And it's just go out and play.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the rotation's an issue too. Guys don't know if they're going to
We still don't
play,
know.
how much they're
Still
going to
don't know what our
play.
rotation is.
It's so bad. And we have a different starting lineup. This past starting lineup, I really do not like at all.
Yeah, well, the part of that was Devo was actually sus getting disciplined for the first few minutes because he
Was
was
he?
late to a team meeting. So that's why he didn't start the game, was um, because of that. So
I just think I heard a stat today. They outscored our bench like 46-9 or something like that. I don't know the specifics. He came off the bench, battle. I mean, there was nobody really played well on our team.
no, I saw someone on Instagram. I can't remember their name. If I could, I'd maybe call them out, but maybe not because they seem like a nice person. But they're like, uh, you you have so many good players sitting on the bench, Coach Muss. You need to go deeper into the bench because you have guys that are just like sitting there that would definitely be outperforming our starters.
Like who?
For those of you out there that think that the solution is bringing guys off the bench, let's just break down some facts for you. And they're like, and they need to play more than 3 minutes. In that game against Auburn, we had 10 players play 7 minutes of basketball or more, or 6 minutes of basketball or more. Those are good minutes. That's 10. And all 13 of our players got at least a couple minutes in this game. So our bench got their opportunities. Our and here's what they did when they had the chance to come in. Our bench, which includes Devo Davis, which is an
Two
outlier, but
points.
they were 2 for 14. 2 for 14 shooting from our bench. 0 for 4 from 3-point land.
Two assists.
2 assists. Uh, like a
9.
lot of turnovers.
Yeah.
Seven, more than half of our turnovers came from our guys coming in off the bench. So anyway, to that person on Instagram that was like, you just need to like find in these guys. No, like everyone's getting a chance. Everyone is still getting a chance right now, and no one is stepping up.
Maybe the guy was talking about Blocker. He only got 2 minutes. So maybe he was talking about that. Blocker does bring energy, but he just brings no offensive game at this point in his career, and it's tough to play in.
Yeah. Yeah, I like yeah, I've always loved Blocker's energy and he's a good defender. Um, but I've
Of all.
watched him on offense and he will go to the corners and hide.
Yeah.
Like he will literally get to places where it's like, don't pass me the ball, don't get me the ball. And it's like, dude, we need people to like, yeah, get in the fray and mix it up.
I saw a stat today. The like vast majority of our shots come from the mid range, and like we shoot the worst from there. Like we're a terrible 3-point shooting team, not very good at mid range. Where we shoot best is at the rim, and we only shoot, I think, maybe 30% of our shots from there or something like that. I think I saw a stat. And it's like,
Mhm.
why do we not attack the rim? That's what most teams are known for is getting it to the rim, attacking free throws. This year's team just loves that mid-range area. And I know Tremont Mark, that's his game, but everybody else should be attacking, you know?
Yeah,
I don't know what our
absolutely.
obsession is with mid-range.
Do Sorry, I just randomly realized Jeremiah Davenport didn't play any minutes.
Yeah, I was looking for his name. I said he he hasn't played significant minutes in a while.
Yeah, but to not get any when, especially once we were down 30 and coach cleared the bench, was he injured?
I wouldn't think so. His last time he played good minutes was against Lipscomb. The past three games he's played five, 4, and 0.
Yeah, that's
I think it's a discipline thing.
it could be. I mean, the announcers didn't say anything about it. I think I remember seeing him on the bench, like looking dressed out, but maybe not. Because I feel like especially once we like needed buckets, I'm and he's an effort guy too. So I'm really surprised that coach didn't put him in unless there was some external reason that we don't know about. Because when Denaje Harris and Bay Fall are getting minutes and Pinion, you know that Davenport's
Don't be hating
deserving of
on DJ
minutes as a
Harris.
player.
He's a legend.
What'd you say?
So don't be hating on DJ Harris. He's a legend. It's my guy.
He's he seems like a wonderful human
I
being.
know no one knows who he is. He's a transfer. He doesn't really play a lot. I just think he hustles his butt off. Like he doesn't really bring anything, but he plays harder than everybody else out there. So I just like the way he
He
plays.
does. Yeah.
This has not SEC skills probably, but
He no, he probably wears himself out with how much energy he puts out. Like
I
over
I wish our starters would do that. I wish they would be dead tired with how much energy they're playing with. And it seems like unless it's Purdue or Duke, they like that Duke energy we had. I wish we would just harness that for at least a half. We don't even
yeah.
have we'll have energy for like 4 minutes total of a game.
Yeah.
Uh, what and Georgia's favored by 2.5 tomorrow, and they're pretty good. They're 11-3.
Yeah, they're fine. They're doing better than everyone expected. I'll give them that.
I'm trying to see who they lost to. They lost to Oregon, Miami, and Providence, and they just beat Missouri at Missouri. So it's definitely not going to be an easy game. Usually Georgia's pretty easy, but they're giving us a 30% chance to win on ESPN.
I mean, those numbers are going to keep going down the more the season goes.
I mean, this week's schedule is pretty rough. We go at Georgia tomorrow, and then we go at Florida, and we never win at Florida. So we really need to win tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, we can, obviously we can steal one from Georgia. Um, their leading scorers, their guard, number one, Abdurrahim.
He's been there
He averaged
forever.
like 12 or 13 a game. Um, and then
Go ahead
which
and
is
try and
not
pronounce that name.
those aren't studly numbers by any means. Like I think they're just a balanced team, but they don't have like a superstar.
They really haven't played
Uh,
any
say
significant.
what?
They really haven't played anybody significant. Like
The significant games that they've had, they've lost. They lost to Oregon, they lost to Miami, they lost to Providence. They did pull out, a win against Florida State and Wake Forest,
mhm.
um, and then Mizzou. So they have some decent wins under their belt.
Mizzou's down this year's what I've heard and seen from recent years, and Missouri did lose tonight by 13. I mean,
Yeah.
so hard to be
Well,
positive right now after losing by 30 at home.
yeah. In the opener, so like after a 7-day break, like you would think the guys would come out with extra fire, extra motivation. Hey, season
Right.
opener at home. You've had time to think about it and rest and they're not coming off the holiday slump either, right? They already had their holiday and then played a game, like since then. And so you're like,
And I'm
I
looking
don't know.
right now. Auburn's beating A&M by 2 at home. A&M's keeping it that close, and we lost by 30 at home to Auburn. We have A&M coming up, I think, next week.
And the thing is that really, really makes me sad. If Auburn had just come out of the gate swinging, right, just shooting lights out, high energy, high effort, it'd be like, okay, they came ready. The first the first 8 minutes, first 6 minutes of the game, Auburn looked bad.
Yeah.
I mean, we ended up getting up
I think
like
11-5, right? Is what I
11-5. We were on a run, and then they called a timeout and they just clawed right back into it. But again, they weren't shooting lights out. They weren't coming out hot. And then we literally just let them build their confidence over the course of a game.
yeah.
And then I'd say the last 4 minutes of the first half, like it went from being a tie game to down by 7 to end the half. And then in the second half, I mean, it was just all Auburn. But again, like they weren't, it was weird. Like they weren't dominating us in the sense of like they're just shooting lights out and they're playing super aggressive defense and they're just like overwhelming us. It was literally just like, let's pass it down to Broom and let him just like use his body and get a layup. And like they just did that a bunch of times. And then we left him wide open for some shots. And then we just did stupid stuff. But you're like, it would feel not completely, but it would just feel different if Auburn came in hot and ready and focused, but they
Yeah.
didn't. And we still let them just like gain that momentum over the course of 40 minutes
Yeah.
in
It's,
our home, like our home arena.
I mean, we are notorious for beating top tier teams. We already beat Duke there this season and Purdue in a scrimmage. How, like, okay, we lose to Auburn, whatever, that's fine. By 30, though, by 30, really? Come on, guys. So we'll
Yeah.
see what they come out with tomorrow. I'm sure Muss ripped their ass. Where he got after.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if we just see the most random starting lineup.
Oh yeah, it's gonna
I
be
mean,
weird.
at this point, we've already seen pretty much every starting lineup that there could be.
Except JJ
Um,
Harris, Bayfall. Put them all in. Put them all in.
Put them
Start.
all in. Pinion, Harris, Fall, Blocker, and Davenport. Just all energy and effort guys.
Hey, what's it gonna hurt? I'd say if your guys don't come out, the starters do whatever normal starters you're gonna do. If they don't come out, do the fit thing he did a couple games ago. Sub all five out. I don't know if
Yeah.
that game, but if you need energy, then go to it, even if it is the last guy on the bench.
Yeah. I must did talk about that after. Was it the Abigail Christian game
Abilene, yeah.
or Abilene Christian? So Abilene Christian, uh, or was it Lipscomb that we did that against?
Let me let me look.
I've been Lipscomb. Either way, that the coach of that team does a 5-man swap out usually at the 4-minute mark. And basically just to like mess with them, Muss had told the team as soon as you see their 5-man sub go to the scorer's bench, you five are going in. Just because we're gonna just match their coach like one for one on like that strategy. So it was a pre-planned strategy that they had organized in practice that those five guys, which was like Pinion, Fall, a couple other guys, but yeah, he had just already pre-planned. As soon as they sub their five, we're gonna do our five. It'll be like a hockey change out. And yeah, it was fun, but coach was like, "Yeah, we'll probably never do that again." But it was just to throw a little shocker their way.
Maybe it wasn't. No, it wasn't Lipscomb. I'm trying to see who it was. No way that was in November. I'm really trying to see. I don't know, but it was one of those non-conference games, and yeah, he matched him. I don't know if he'll do that tomorrow. But it's just so up and down. Like he'll play 7 guys, 8 guys, and then he'll play 12. Then he'll put a guy in for 15 minutes, and then he'll play him for 2. Like L. Ellis is probably really down in the dumps. I mean, we've
That
talked
can
about
only happen.
It's so hard for him to have confidence. And Battle's probably losing confidence. Mitchell definitely losing confidence. And I don't know who has confidence at this point. I mean, you make 18 shots, nobody should have confidence as a
Yeah.
team. I don't know what you do after that. You want to talk about football for a couple minutes before we've had some big time transfers come in since the last pod we did.
It's true. Got the running back from Utah.
I did not expect that. I did not expect us to actually get him. That was, I think, pretty huge for us.
Yeah. He did great. He was the leading
He was a
rusher at
stud
Utah.
for them.
He's a stud. So that's super positive.
DN out of Albany, 12 sacks this past year.
hmm
Anton, not gonna even try and pronounce his last name. Let's see who else. We got a DB from South Alabama, Marquise Robinson. New wide receivers coach hire. What do you think about that? Ronnie Fouch from Missouri State, and he was at Louisville with Petrino. You think it's just strictly a Petrino hire?
I think it's Petrino hire. I mean, at this point we have no reason but to trust Bobby Petrino. And we saw, when he brought in Missouri State a couple years ago into Fayetteville, I mean, their offense did a great job, and and their receiver, like their passing game was really solid against us, which obviously that's a big reflection on their receiving core. So yeah, I mean, I think I have no reason to dislike the hire.
Mhm. I think he'll be perfect for like telling our wide receivers how to run a Petrino offense, like how he wants routes ran and like stuff like that. So it's a bad hire. We'll see though. Losing Guyton does hurt for sure though.
Yeah,
Guys really liked him.
yeah. I liked Guyton. He did a good job. We'll miss him. But that's, you
Name of
know, name of the game comes with changing of the guard. Obviously, losing Enos, that being a dumpster fire like it was, things are gonna change up, mix up.
We also got a former A&M wide receiver, Jordan Anthony. He's a track star apparently. So we talked pretty much all football season about having that guy that takes the top off the defense. Maybe
Yep.
this will be that guy.
Maybe it could be that. That could make things really nice underneath, especially for Armstrong and Tesla.
And then we have
Get them.
Tanga, speed guy, and then this guy. We got two.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think that gives us a little bit more balance of types of receivers. So we've got a slot, we've got kind of a bigger, kind of outside threat, and then we've got the couple speed guys, and then we've got some great tight ends. So we
We got
should be
Broden
able
back,
to roll
right?
it. Say what?
Is Broden coming back? I can't remember if he. I think he's back.
Broden. I think so. We need to check on that. Um,
Check. You were talking. I'm just going off what you're saying. He's our height guy we had this past season. So I'm trying to think of. Yeah, I think he's staying.
yeah, hopefully he can develop. I consider, Armstrong a little bit of a bigger
Yeah,
like
he is too.
receiver. He's kind of like, I don't know, he could kind of be like almost like an AJ Green kind of guy, if he keeps developing. Um, Not like that massive, big, huge receiver, but
No,
it's just like lengthy and can like jump up, get some good balls, that are like high pointed, go over a defender, things like that. Um, Good sideline, like those guys are usually really great catching along the sideline and like kind of extending for it. Um, yeah, I mean, the whole
yeah,
double transfer portal time thing is just weird. I don't like that there's teams out there that are still preparing for bowl games and they've got players talking about coming in and coming out of the transfer portal. Like I think the entire NCAA should just wait until all of the college football playoffs are done and then the transfer portal opens. It just feels so weird and strange that in the
It ruins
middle of a
bowl
season.
games. It ruins bowl games.
Yeah.
Like look at the Florida State game. I mean, they were pissed off they didn't make the playoff. But say you don't have the transfer rule where they have to transfer so early, they probably have some of their guys, and maybe it's not a blowout.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the Kirby Smart. I mean, he said that
Yeah,
in his post game interview. Like it was kind of interesting. Obviously, he just had a massive blowout win against them. And he's like, that was sad because they're a better team than what we made them look like tonight.
yeah.
He's like they're way better than what we made them look like because they had guys so much of their team. He's like, and the guys that did show up and put their pads on, he's like, it's not fair to them to like make them go out there with half a team. And I definitely agree. I don't like it.
Also, KJ announced he's transferring to UCF, so congrats to him.
Yeah.
Um,
But well, I think it'll be good for him,
I do
you
too.
know.
Mal's on offense. I think it'll be fine for him. That's everything football wise, and then anything other sports wise you can think of.
Our women's basketball team got a 40-point win.
That is huge.
Yeah. So if anyone out there is a omni-sport fan, that can maybe alleviate some of the pain of a 32-point loss for the men.
Yeah, at least there's
So,
some good basketball happening in the Hogs world somewhere.
yeah. We'll have to do a little bit more research before our next podcast and see if we can have like a little segment on the women's team. Might
Oh,
be good.
sure, we can look it up. Another month closer to baseball. I just want to say that. Closer to baseball.
Let's go.
Hopefully they don't hurt us like basketball has so far.
Yeah, it's best when we just keep our expectations low and let them surprise us.
Yes, exactly. Perfect way to end the episode for today. Thank you guys for listening and watching. Thank you guys for all the support.